So have you or any of your loved ones suffered from insomnia? Have you or your children? Now, insomnia is the lack of sleep. It's a persistent inability to fall asleep or even stay asleep, and it can impair your immune system. It can cause weight gain. It can increase your moodiness. It's even increased the risk of relationship problems in studies. And it's also been shown to contribute to car accidents. In traditional Chinese medicine, there's many avenues when we talk about insomnia, but a couple of things you really want to remember. If you or your loved ones suffer from this, there is a connection to the heart, the adrenals and thyroid, and also the liver and gallbladder. So I don't want to be overwhelming in this section of the course, but we have this circadian rhythm cycle in Chinese medicine known as the Ori cycle. And what this means is when you fall asleep, the time frames of 7 to 9 p.m., the electrical energy in your body, there are electrical pathways. You guys see me use my doll, but you'll have what we call the triple warmer. You'll have that meridian that feeds your thyroid, your adrenals, and your reproductive organs like the ovaries and testes. You also have a meridian called the pericardium. I know this seems like a lot, but I want you to know this, that insomnia can be related to the heart. And the heart, when you get too overworked or too tired, or you have a loss of joy in your life, those are dug deep into the heart. So from 7 to 9 and 9 to 11, your body is busy giving a lot of electrical energy into the pericardium, the muscles around the heart, and the thyroid, the adrenals, and the reproductive system. So you can have these organs imbalanced, and they can keep you from falling asleep. So if you're in a constant state of being out of joy or lacking joy, if you have low happiness, if you find yourself depressed, that could actually keep you from going to sleep. Why? Because the thyroid, the adrenals, the reproductive organs help produce what? Hormones, sex hormones, also adrenaline. Then you think about testosterone, thyroid hormones. When you wear yourself out by chronic worry, chronic fear, chronic overthinking, which is related to the liver, which we're going to in just a second, you'll see that you can actually rob the heart and these hormonal glands of energy. And they need to rest, but you're always on go. And so your body will spend tons of electrical energy going around these organs and these areas to energize them for the next day. But what if they're so lacking from all the times we live in fear and lack of joy and we're worried that they had to spend a lot of time in these organs to try to clean them up? Because that's what happens in Chinese medicine. Electrical energy stalls around the organ that's deficient. So if you or your loved ones suffer from insomnia or the inability to fall asleep, you need to check the heart, you need to check the thyroid, the adrenals, and the reproductive glands. If you have a problem staying asleep, then that could be related to the liver and the gallbladder. The gallbladder takes a lot of energy from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. It is literally your electrical energy is going into this area right here, trying to energize it up. And then it goes from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. to your liver. So it's preparing and helping your liver clean your blood at night. Just literally giving you a lot of energy to clean it up. It's preparing you for your job for the next day. So the next morning, you're going to have your caffeine. You're going to encounter pesticides in the air. You're going to encounter all this stuff in the office, like if there's any mold or something of that sort. And it's wanting your body to be energized to clean it out of your blood. Okay? What happens when you have a high amount of depression, a high amount of infection, like viruses, mold, or yeast, or bacteria, that are circulating in the blood? That's an option that can happen. It could get into the heart. It could also be filtered down to the kidneys and the liver, which are trying to filter things out. So I always tell patients, when you have insomnia, with all that things I've just said, you want to make sure your blood's being clean. You got to work on the heart. You have to check for parasites. You need to check for mold. You need to check for hidden infections like Epstein-Barr virus, maybe even Lyme disease, and even things like strep and staph. I know it seems like a lot, but what we're trying to do is make sure that the blood is clean so the heart stays clean and soft and the liver can reduce its activity. So you want to make sure that your liver is strong and healthy. And I guarantee you, if you help the heart and the thyroid and the adrenals by getting it out of fight or flight, getting these infections out, you'll start to sleep more. You guys follow me? You get these infections out, you'll start to sleep through the night. Now, here's a few of the top 5 ancient Chinese medicine prescriptions. I do like CBD oil. CBD oil has been shown to reduce anxiety and pain and aids in sleep. So individuals that have insomnia, some can absorb CBD very well. Some may not have the best ability, but I've seen it work wonders. So I usually suggest that an individual takes 40 to 160, 180 milligrams before bed. Now, a side note, guys, if CBD ever makes you feel jittery or anxious, you may need to change the brand or the amount, and ask your primary care physician to see which one works for you, because we all have cannabinoid receptors, and sometimes the brand and the cleanliness and making sure it's an organic source is vital for your cells to absorb the CBD oil. Now, the next one I do like is valerian root. Promotes sleep. You can take about 300 to 900 milligrams before bed, and valerian has been shown to actually really aid in sleep and also calm the nerves. I do like chamomile as well. Chamomile tea or the capsules reduces anxiety. You can take 220 to 1600 milligrams or drink it in a cup of tea before bed. So you're starting to see that you can take these types of things before bed, or maybe an hour or two before bed, to calm your nerves and help calm the system. It helps the heart and the liver. The next is melatonin. Look for a good melatonin source. Melatonin is best for those who wake up in the middle of the night. You can take about 0.3 to 3 grams before bed. Now, melatonin, on a side note, if you ever have an issue with just falling asleep and staying asleep, melatonin is great. If you have problems where you wake up and you feel anxious, then you look into 5-HTP. That's a side note. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of the top 5. It supports relaxation and sleep, and it also is one of the main minerals that helps you produce energy. And if you produce sufficient amounts of energy, your sleep will actually get better. Magnesium is one of the top 9 sources of nutrients that are deficient in our world today. So I suggest take 300 to 600 milligrams in the evening. These are all options for you to help with your insomnia. Now, I want to say, along with the top 5, if you have insomnia and you ever suspect that there's infections, you want to make sure that you use good traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic herbs that can help with cleaning out the infection. And write these down and investigate them. I like Malia Supreme, which is neem powder from Supreme Nutrition Products. They have a great product. But you can look for noni as well. Noni is a great supplement, a great herb that helps clean out infections. And 2 other ones in Chinese medicine is Chinese Isatis, Isatis, and Chinese Coptis. For the little ones, you want to ask your primary care doctor, but I do like Star Anise, Star A-N-I-S-E. Star Anise is a great gentle cleanser, and I like chrysanthemum. It is good for ladies that are pregnant. It's also good for children, and it's been able to be a great general antimicrobial. So please investigate these if you suffer from insomnia. Now, the other remedies I do suggest, I want you to try acupuncture. Acupuncture, chiropractic, these all can help with the heart meridian, the thyroid, the adrenals, and the reproductive system. It also can help with the liver and the gallbladder. I also suggest to my patients that you get morning sunlight to reset your circadian clock. It is very important that you get out and get your sun bathing in. Your body has to know the difference between light and dark. Now, at night, you got to make sure that all the windows are closed, the shades are down. It needs to be completely dark. There doesn't need to be blue light from your iPad, your laptop. You don't need any of those in your eyes. That can trigger your brain to stop producing melatonin in the proper amounts and keep you awake. And I also suggest that you turn off your Wi-Fi. Turn off your Wi-Fi, turn off your phones so that you don't have that EMF disturbing your sleep. Now, also get daily exercise. You need to increase your daily exercise, and you need to do that to actually increase energy, but cause your body to rest at night. Now, also reduce stress with prayer. Prayer has been shown through research, along with meditation, spiritual readings, yoga, and these have been shown to actually ponder good information. So before you go to bed and you get your mind into a resting state with gratitude, and asking for things that you need help on, it's been shown to light up the parts of your brain to reduce anxiety. The more gratitude, the less anxiety. Remember, no screen time. Add that in there, especially within 3 hours before bed. Now, I want you to keep all that noise out as well with the light. So try to make it as quiet as you can. And I want you to maintain a regular sleep schedule. Don't be spotty. get up at the same time, go to sleep at the same time, and try to go to sleep at least an hour before midnight. I like diffusing certain essential oils. I like to use 5 drops of lavender oil or even chamomile oil in your bedroom at night and let that get into the body to create more relaxation mood. I like to ask my patients, please avoid foods that can actually cause insomnia, such as gluten. Avoid the simple sugars and carbs, refined sugar, starches. Conventional dairy such as cow dairy, you want to avoid those because they can increase inflammation, especially before bedtime. So if you're a person that says, I drank a glass of milk before bed at all time and it made me relax, those have been shown to be very inflammatory, so I would avoid that. And also, avoid the spicy foods, anything that's fried, because you don't want your gallbladder to be fired up at night, because that's what can get you up in the evening, because parasites and yeast and mold can hang out in your gallbladder and get feeding on these foods, and you'll wake up. That's what happens. Also, alcohol. Don't do alcohol too late. Moderate your alcohol. And alcohol can really put a big damper on the liver at night, and it can keep you up and give you the internal shakes. Especially, I tell my patients, if you're sensitive to caffeine or you feel like it gets you too jolted, reduce your caffeine, especially after the noontime. And solid foods within 2 hours of bedtime should be avoided because you don't want that much food, that heaviness in your stomach, because your digestive system has to work all night to try to tear it down. So you want to stop eating usually by 6 or 7 p.m. Now, these are the foods that I want you to incorporate. Omega-3 rich foods such as wild-caught fish like salmon or tuna. I love walnuts, almonds, and seeds. But if you have a nut allergy, don't use those. You find an alternative. Turkey has a lot of tryptophan in it, so does chicken. Grass-fed beef is high in tryptophan, which will turn into melatonin. Incorporate some fermented dairy if you can find a good organic source, but the fermentation can actually be beneficial. Now, if you are sensitive to sulfur, you want to watch out for fermented dairy or fermented foods, but it has been shown to help with sleep. Eggs are beneficial to help with the body's ability to stay asleep with melatonin and tryptophan. Spinach is great, chard, kale. Use broccoli. You can use asparagus, and even beets have been shown to help. So incorporate these in soups and dishes. It would be a really good idea for you. I also like pumpkin, cherry juice, kiwis. Apples have been shown to help with sleep. Peaches, but don't do too many peaches. It can be too high in sugars if you're not careful. Certain beans are good for the body to help with sleep cycles. Sprouted rice, congee, oats, coconut, avocado, olives are really good for insomnia, tahini, and even mushrooms. So these are all options for you to use when you are dealing with insomnia because they can be very nourishing to the body. Remember, if you have any sensitivities to these foods, avoid them. But when you look into these supplementation, I suggest to you, you'll see that if you take these practices, try to incorporate some of these herbs, ask your primary care doctor, and use these foods and avoid these foods, you'll see that your insomnia can actually be highly reduced and even eliminated. I've seen it in my patients, and guys, I think this is something that we all need to really address because sleep is key. There's a great book I want you guys to read called Why We Sleep. It'll tell you why you heal while you sleep. Hope this helps.